So this weekend I went to Repticon Orlando. It was an amazing show and I posted a walkthrough. You could check that out. And in this video, I'm gonna be showing you what I picked up at the show. So relax, have a cup of coffee or whatever you like to drink and enjoy the video. So it's a beautiful morning and now I'm about to actually head home. We finished up the show, but I'm gonna drink a coffee and get ready for my next video. How you guys doing this morning? It's a beautiful morning out here and luckily I found a nice shady area back here with some trees providing shade. Nice and breezy this morning because it's about to get really hot out here later today in the high 90s. It's gonna feel like it's in the hundreds with the humidity, but luckily it's still early. I found a nice spot and I'm back at Foxtail Coffee. This is a different location than the last one I was at, so I got a nice pour over. The pour over takes longer to make, like I said, but the flavors and the intensity, they get so much more out of the bean. And I got a little cream on the side. Oh, nothing like a nice hot cup of coffee any time of the day, really, for me. I could have one any time of the day, but in the morning it just gets me feeling right. It's like a tune-up for a car. It's just needed. I don't want to go out until I have my coffee and interact with people, but here's to you guys. Bless all of us and hope we all have healthy days, healthy months, healthy years coming up, and bless all the reptiles that are in these videos as well. Bless everybody. Here's to all of us. The coffee's so good. Now basically I'm getting back in the car. I just stopped off for some coffee before I head back towards Miami. And when I get there, I'm just gonna be showing you what I got at the show, and it might be a surprise. It's not gonna be what you think I got, and I'm gonna set everything up. I got a couple of little things, so hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm heading home now, and hopefully you guys hang out and check out what I got. Thank you guys so much. All right, so I just got home and I'm gonna show you real quick what I got. First off, if you guys watch my channel on a regular, you know I love coffee. I drink it every video. So I got this coffee horned frog, or as you say, coffee Pac-Man frog. And this one is the color of coffee, and I'm gonna name him Coffee. It's a fitting name. I got him from Tracy Smith at Skeletor's Neighborhood. Really good breeder. He has lots of different types of frogs, and he always seems to have some of the nicest horned frogs at the show. I really wanted, when I used to have horned frogs as a kid, and even more recently I did have one until it grew old and eventually moved on. So I definitely love them, and whenever I have a baby snake that sometimes just doesn't want to eat, you could always feed the pinky to these horned frogs. They'll gobble them up. So that's that. That's a little baby. So we're gonna go bioactive. Now I didn't want to take out one of my big exoterras for a horned frog, so I got this. I'm gonna show you what this is. Now these horned frogs pretty much just burrow and sit all day. They will come out from time to time just to soak in some water. So we're gonna put a water dish, and also they only pretty much move when it's time to eat. Other than that, they just sit there. So to put them in a big exoterra, especially at a baby size, makes no sense. We got some bioactive substrate, and I could make my own, but I'm really busy right now with all the babies hatching out. And this is really good stuff. I've had plants grow really fast in here. I got a couple of other things which I'm gonna show you after I set up this enclosure. So let's do this first, and then I'll show you the rest. So now I want to put a water feature in here. This is a nice shallow little water dish. I don't want it too deep, otherwise I'll have a problem getting out. So basically I'm just gonna dig a little hole and fit this right in here. And I'm gonna fill that up with spring water. Not too deep, I don't want them to drown in it. That's about half an inch. So now for plants. I could have bought some plants at the show, which I did, but not for that enclosure. I have this exoterra. I got a Hawaiian blue day gecko about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And these plants have just taken off. I'm using the same substrate here that I'm using for the enclosure we're building today. And this plant was about that tall. It was just about 2 inches tall, and that was about 2 months ago I set this up. And look, it's all the way to the top where the light is, and this plant was about down here. It grew all the way up. We also have a fern back there and an air plant. So these plants, you can cut them and root them. So you're just gonna cut, plop them into the soil, and within a couple of days you're gonna see roots starting to emerge. The beauty about it is I have to trim these anyway. They're getting too tall for this tank. So I'm gonna use these. These will be the background plants and these will be on the foreground. So this is gonna be incredible. I get to actually use the plants from this terrarium and that one. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna snip these real quick and we're gonna set up this beautiful enclosure. All right, so I just trimmed down this enclosure. That plant was all the way to the very top. Now there's more light being distributed on the ground and to the other plants. I also snipped a handful of these using this stainless steel knife. Made sure I cleaned it before I cut the plants. And I actually use this for my freshwater fish tank. I have a planted tank, which I always have to trim. It has live plants, so that's what I have this for. So I'm gonna put this big begonia towards the back at an angle. These leaves are really big. And I just wanna get that end into the soil so it could root all the way in there nice. And then I'm gonna place these towards the back in this corner, starting with the tallest ones in the back and the shortest ones in the front. And I could maintain these very easily as they get tall, just trim them. They'll grow bushier and bushier. Now I don't wanna get the plants too close to this because once it starts getting really bushy, I'm gonna be able to take this out to clean it and put fresh water in. So I don't want the plants overlapping too much in this. A little bit is okay. If it gets crazy, I could always trim them, so it's not a problem. And this is like artwork. You can do whatever you like, however you want to do it. This is just something I'm thinking about off the top of my head, and I think it's gonna look really nice and still give the frog space to burrow and, you know, do what he wants to do. So far it's looking pretty good, but I'm gonna cut this sleeve off. It's really big for this size enclosure, and it's covering all of the floor space that he could use to burrow. So I'm gonna just trim that off. This sleeve is really, really big. And now that looks really good. That's better. He can go under here, burrow wherever he likes. I got these powder orange isopods from Just Bugs. And you can see them in there. They're gonna repopulate in here, eat the feces from the frog, and eat any dying, decaying leaf litter, or they even munch on the moss. So I'm just gonna distribute that all over the enclosure. You can see them running around. Now I got this leaf litter from the same person that I got the soil, and I had a lot extra from my last enclosure, and as the leaf litter dies off and gets eaten, I just keep adding more, but I have a lot of this on hand, so I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of this on top. And this provides food and coverage for the isopods. And it also provides some nutrients to the plants as it breaks down. The isopods eat it, and as they go to the bathroom, that will fertilize these plants. Plus, this soil has a lot of natural stuff in here. Now I'm not gonna put any branches and stuff in here. I could, it would just be for decorations, because this type of frog is not gonna utilize any climbing abilities. It's a really lazy frog that's just gonna stay on the ground level. So I'm just giving him what he needs to thrive and not trying to make it too fancy. We're gonna spray this down with some spring water. And there's Coffee looking really, really nice. So we'll let him take a dip in the pool. Actually, I don't want to get any of that water into my clean water. Get a good look at Coffee. Oh yeah. And you know, at this size, they could eat crickets. They could eat day-old pinkies, which that's a treat every so often. You don't want to feed them pinkies often. And dubia roaches. I have a lot of dubia roaches on hand at all times, so that's what I'm probably going to be feeding him mostly, with some crickets. And then when he gets a little bigger, I might throw a pinky in there every so often. I also breed my pinkies. I breed my mice, my rodents, for my snakes, so I always have those on hand as well. And you can see he's a tiny frog, so this is perfect for him. He's not going to utilize any of the height, so there's no need to really put any branches, like I said. And I just love the look of the Coffee. Horned frog has that nice brown look, and I see a drop of green over the eyes. Absolutely love this frog. And I don't know if you saw that in the corner. We saw some isopods right there. Some isopods moving around. That's part of the cleanup crew with the springtails. I'm gonna add some springtails in here. I have a bunch in my other enclosure. I'm just gonna throw a couple in here, so I didn't buy any. So now this is where I'm gonna keep Coffee, next to my other enclosure. It could share the same light. I have a UVB bulb and a sun blaster 13-watt bulb for the plants, so these plants will grow nice in here. And I'll probably have to trim this one often as it's gonna grow too tall for this enclosure. And the beautiful thing about these stem plants, you just cut them, put them in some moist soil, and they just root and take off. This is my first time actually doing this for a reptile enclosure. I've done it in potted plants and it works beautifully, so I want to see how it works in this enclosure. I think it's going to do really well due to the moisture and humidity. Those roots are going to take off really quickly. Now let me put the cover on. So now this enclosure comes with a feeding port. You could just open the latch and throw in whatever you want to throw in, but if you want, I'll probably just use this top screen, dump in what I need to dump in. And that's just perfect. You could put a nice little light up here if you want. And these are great for something small like a little baby horned frog. I wouldn't recommend something like this for anything that's gonna get big. And as this baby grows, if I need to, I will definitely probably put them in a bigger exoterra, but this is going to be suitable for a while. So that little enclosure came out nice for coffee. Coffee is something I drink every day, so as I drink my coffee now, I could look at coffee, the horned frog, the Pac-Man frog. I'll keep you guys posted as he grows, as the plants grow. I'll continue to show you that. And I got some other things at the show. I got this plant, Philodendron White Wizard, and this is a really good price for this because once they start getting pretty big, I've seen these for $50, $60, sometimes even more depending on the size. So I'm not using this for a reptile. I'm gonna pot this up in a nice potter and let it grow in my patio. I'll definitely do a video on that. I love the variegated leaves on this, and I would use this for a reptile terrarium, but this grows huge and I think it'll do better in a pot outside. If I ever have a huge terrarium built, I'll cut a piece of this off, pot it in there, and let it take off. Absolutely love this plant. And I also got this carnivorous plant of this beautiful carnivorous plant, and this is a form of pitcher plant. You could see it has a pitcher which little tiny flies could get into and it'll eat them up. And I got this from Ward's World of Propagation. Brittany and Ward, they usually breed some of the nicest colubrids and have a table full of corn snakes, but now they only had their plants out. They have plants and colubrids, so they have an amazing collection. So if you're ever at a reptile show in Florida, check them out. You could also check them out online. Now the reason why I got this one is because the pictures turn red as the little ones. You see they turn green and then they develop deep red coloration, and I think as they mature they're gonna get even more and more red. And this one was just a beautiful plant with so many of these little pictures on here. So I'm gonna put this in a hanging basket, a hanging potter planter, hang it up in my patio, give it medium light and see how it grows. These things could get really big, so I'm excited to finally get my first pitcher plant. This one is really amazing. I love the reds on this one. So I was just looking at coffee hanging out in that water dish. You know, a normal frog would be able to jump out of that with no problem. And he probably could jump out of it, but I'm worried it just might be a drop too much of an obstacle for him to jump out of this water bowl. So I got some sterilized rocks. I'm gonna put them at the corner, kind of like a little step, so he can help him, assist him jump out. So I'm gonna put the biggest one right there. I'm gonna put another one right here. I'm going to put this one right here. So he could kind of climb onto this and then make his way here and just hobble out. If that doesn't work, I'll probably add a couple more rocks just to make it easier for him, or just put some gravel on the bottom to elevate how high this water dish is, but it's not very high. You can see it's not a high dish at all, but I don't know how high he'll be able to jump, so I'm just gonna keep an eye on him, and I think that should definitely do the trick. He probably can get out without it, but I'm just trying to help him out here. So that's that. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys watched the Orlando Repticon walkthrough that I previously posted. So if you haven't watched it, that's where I got all these goodies. Feel free to watch it, and I will do a video when I pot these up and keep you guys posted on Coffee the Horned Frog. Now I'm really busy. I don't have too much more time. I gotta record another video. I have tons of babies hatching out and a bunch of them shed. So I'm gonna show you those, separate them, sex them. I got so much work to do. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you in the next one.